We get to spend a lot of time in the woods. Dad's always brought me up deer hunting in the swamps and whatnot, and now that I'm older, we do a lot of traveling all over the United States and even in Canada.
For over a decade, millions have watched Jacob Landry navigate the murky waters of Louisiana, facing off with massive alligators on swamp people.
It's unbelievable how much our lives have changed.
Has it been a cool response? Because I wasn't really aware of what it was like to be a gator hunter in the bayou before your show came on.
But behind the sharp hooks and high-stakes hunts lies a story few truly know. What shaped him? Why has he stayed silent online? And is he done with the show for good? Jacob Landry was born on December 27, 1983, in a small Louisiana town called Pierre Part. Tucked away in the heart of the state's swamp region, this quiet community is surrounded by winding bayous, moss-covered cypress trees, and a landscape that can be both stunning and dangerous. For those not familiar with the area, the swamp might seem like an unfriendly place, muddy, wild, and difficult to navigate. But for Jacob, it was simply home. His early life was shaped by the rhythms of the swamp and a strong sense of family tradition. Unlike children who grew up in cities or suburbs, Jacob spent much of his childhood outdoors. From a young age, he was introduced to the skills needed to live and work in the swamps of southern Louisiana. He didn't just play in nature, he learned to understand it. Jacob comes from a long line of alligator hunters. His father, Troy Landry, became known nationwide through the TV show Swamp People. But long before the cameras arrived, Troy was respected in the region for his deep knowledge of the land and its creatures. He taught Jacob the practical skills of hunting, how to track alligators, set baited lines, and handle boats in tight, unpredictable waters, but also the importance of patience and respect. As Troy has often said, the swamp speaks, but you have to be still and really pay attention to hear it. That idea stuck with Jacob. Learning to move quietly, to notice changes in the water surface, or listen to the silence before a storm, became second nature to him. Jacob's early education happened more in boats and on the water than in classrooms. While other kids might have spent their weekends playing video games or going to shopping malls, Jacob was learning how to row through dense canals, cast nets, and identify animal tracks. He also learned what many might call survival skills, how to deal with heat, bugs, sudden storms, and the ever-present risk of encountering dangerous wildlife. These weren't just hobbies or occasional trips. They were part of daily life. He often talks about his father's teaching style, which combined toughness with encouragement. One story he shared is about the first time he was allowed to steer a boat by himself. He was confident, thinking it would be easy after watching his dad do it so many times. But things didn't go smoothly. He lost a few fishing rods and had a hard time keeping control. Instead of getting angry, his dad simply smiled and told him to try again. That moment left a strong impression on Jacob. It taught him that mistakes were part of the process, and that learning often came through doing, not just being told. Troy Landry may be best known as a skilled alligator hunter, but his role as a father was just as central in shaping who Jacob became. He believed in teaching through action and expected Jacob to earn each skill rather than have it handed to him. Jacob learned to stay calm under pressure, to think clearly in dangerous situations, and to work as part of a team, skills that would serve him well later in life, both on and off camera. At the same time, Jacob's mother, Bernita Landry, played an equally important role in his upbringing. While she didn't take part in hunting, she was the heart of the home. She raised her sons with structure, kindness, and a strong sense of identity. The balance between Troy's demanding outdoor lessons and Bernita's steady presence inside the home helped create a stable, grounded environment. Family dinners were a regular part of life, often filled with storytelling, jokes, and shared memories from the swamp. These moments, though simple, taught Jacob that family wasn't just about living together, it was about sharing, supporting each other, and holding on to traditions. Growing up in a place like Pierre Part meant that nature was always close by. Jacob often spent entire days out on the water, whether he was helping his father with hunting trips or just exploring. He developed a deep appreciation for the swamp's beauty and complexity. He learned to recognize small signs that others might miss, such as ripples on the water that indicated a nearby gator, or birds flying low, which often signaled an approaching storm. There was danger too. Hunting alligators is risky, and Jacob experienced that firsthand even as a young boy. But instead of being frightened off, he learned how to respect the creatures and stay alert. Whether it was avoiding snakes, navigating during heavy rain, or reacting quickly when something went wrong, he grew up with a mindset that valued awareness and preparation. These weren't dramatic movie-style moments, they were just part of life. One important thing to understand about Jacob's upbringing is that everything was connected. The land, the weather, the animals, and the people formed a kind of system where everything influenced everything else. His family didn't see themselves as separate from nature. They were part of it. That perspective, passed down through generations, helped Jacob develop a unique view of life. For him, the swamp wasn't just a setting, it was a teacher. Over time, the skills and values Jacob learned as a child became a natural part of who he was. He didn't just know how to hunt, he knew how to observe, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to work closely with others. These qualities would later make him stand out on Swamp People, but even before the show, they defined how he approached life. Looking back, Jacob often describes his childhood as challenging, but deeply rewarding. The work was hard, the conditions weren't always comfortable, and the dangers were real. But he also remembers the pride of accomplishing something with his own hands, the satisfaction of solving problems in the moment, and the quiet joy of being surrounded by nature. For those unfamiliar with swamp life, it might be easy to see it as a tough or even grim environment. But for Jacob, it was a place full of opportunity, lessons, and connection. It shaped him not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. It taught him to value things like honesty, resilience, and patience. These weren't abstract ideas, they were things he lived every day. Even now, long after his first solo boat ride or his earliest hunting trips, Jacob carries those early lessons with him. They influence how he works, how he parents, and how he interacts with the world. While his later success on television brought attention to his story, the core of that story, the foundation, was built long before the cameras ever arrived. At first, the spotlight was more focused on his father, Troy Landry, who had already earned a reputation as one of the most skilled and respected alligator hunters in the region. But it didn't take long for viewers to notice Jacob. He wasn't just there as a background figure or support. He had a distinct presence of his own, quiet, focused, and confident in the middle of some of the most challenging and dangerous situations the swamp had to offer. Jacob's role on Swamp People was not just as a hunter. He served as the boat captain for many of the hunts, a position that might not seem as dramatic on camera as pulling in a massive alligator, but one that required a unique set of skills. Navigating through the narrow, winding bayous is no small task. These waterways are full of submerged logs, unexpected currents, and tight corners. A single wrong move could leave the boat stuck, or worse, put the crew in danger, especially with a live, powerful gator thrashing nearby. As the series progressed, Jacob became known for his ability to stay calm under pressure. Whether he was guiding the boat through thick brush or reacting quickly when something went wrong, he rarely showed signs of panic. That level-headedness stood out, especially during tense moments when others might have lost focus. In scenes where his father was hauling in a wild alligator, Jacob was right there, steering the boat with precision, anticipating the next move, and helping to keep things under control. It was clear to viewers that the trust between father and son went beyond words. They operated as a team, often without needing to speak. While Troy handled the line, the hook, or the firearm, Jacob was managing the boat and the positioning, making sure they were in the best spot to land the catch safely. That kind of coordination doesn't happen overnight. It comes from years of working together, knowing each other's instincts, and respecting the stakes involved. What made Jacob even more appealing to the audience was his grounded nature. He didn't try to steal the spotlight or exaggerate his personality for the camera. What viewers saw was someone who took his work seriously and let his actions speak louder than his words. That sense of authenticity resonated with people, especially those who appreciated hard work and family values. As more seasons of Swamp People aired, Jacob became a regular presence on the show. His confidence grew, and so did his responsibilities. He wasn't just assisting his father, he was increasingly taking the lead on certain hunts, mentoring newer hunters, and stepping up as one of the show's dependable figures. His progression from a supporting character to a central personality happened naturally, driven by his capability and consistency. One reason Jacob's presence stood out was the strong emotional connection viewers felt between him and his father. In an era where reality TV often focuses on drama and conflict, the Landry family brought something different to the screen: trust, mutual respect, and quiet strength. The moments where Jacob and Troy teased each other, shared a laugh after a long day, or relied on each other in high-stress situations gave the show a human side that was just as powerful as the alligator action. These dynamics gave the audience more than just entertainment. They provided a glimpse into a way of life. Jacob wasn't just a television character. He was a real person living out the same traditions his family had followed for generations. Viewers admired that, especially in a world that often feels far removed from that kind of lifestyle. Over time, Jacob also started to take on more off-camera responsibilities. He helped manage logistics, worked with the production crew, and ensured that the filming stayed true to the reality of their work. While Swamp People is, by definition, a reality show, not everything in the world of television is as raw or unscripted as it might seem. Jacob made sure that what was shown on screen remained as close to real life as possible. His behind-the-scenes involvement helped shape the tone and integrity of the series. For Jacob, being on the show was never just about being on television. It was a way to share a part of his culture, to educate viewers about the swamp, and to represent his community. He wasn't trying to be a celebrity. Instead, he was focused on doing his job well and upholding the reputation of the Landry name. As the years went by, Jacob's popularity continued to grow. He developed a loyal fan base who appreciated not only his skills, but also his character. At public events and outdoor expos, fans would often approach him not just to get an autograph or a photo, but to thank him for being a positive role model. Many said they admired the way he handled pressure, worked with his family, and stayed true to his roots. While Jacob remained humble about the attention, he acknowledged the unique opportunity the show gave him. It allowed him to speak to a wide audience about issues that mattered to him, such as conservation, responsible hunting, and the importance of passing down traditional knowledge. He often used his platform to highlight the challenges facing the Louisiana wetlands and the delicate balance that hunters like him try to maintain. What stood out most about Jacob's rise on Swamp People was how naturally it happened. He didn't arrive on the show with the goal of becoming a star. He was simply doing what he had always done, and people noticed. His combination of skill, dedication, and humility made him stand out in a television landscape often filled with over-the-top personalities. The image of Jacob behind the wheel of the boat, eyes focused, hands steady, became one of the most recognizable visuals of the series. It captured not just his role in the hunt, but his entire approach to life: calm, deliberate, and respectful. Whether he was guiding the boat during a dangerous catch or helping his father reload gear, he always brought the same focus and care to every task. His impact on the show went beyond ratings or on-screen moments. He helped shape the emotional tone of Swamp People, giving it a sense of family, purpose, and continuity. For many fans, Jacob became the anchor, the steady presence that held things together, even as the show introduced new faces and changed over the seasons. To this day, Jacob remains one of the most memorable and respected figures to come out of the series. His journey from a young boy learning the ropes in the swamp to a central figure on a nationally televised show is a testament to what consistency, discipline, and genuine character can accomplish. Each hunting season in Louisiana is short but intense. During this time, hunters like Jacob work from before sunrise to well after sunset, moving through narrow waterways in extreme heat and humidity. The temperature can easily soar above 35 degrees or 95 degrees, and the air becomes so thick that breathing feels like a chore. Shade is rare, and the exposure to sun takes a toll quickly. Most of the day is spent soaked in sweat, surrounded by biting insects that never seem to go away. Mosquitoes, gnats, and deer flies are part of daily life. For most people, it would be a nightmare. For Jacob, it's part of the job. But the weather is only one challenge. The actual work of catching alligators is physically demanding. Baiting lines, pulling ropes, lifting massive gators into boats, each task is heavy, repetitive, and dangerous. Alligators can weigh hundreds of kilograms, and they don't go down easily. Even after they're caught, they may still thrash or lunge unexpectedly. In a small boat, one wrong move can result in injury, or worse. Jacob has spoken in the past about how seriously he takes the responsibility of safety during hunts. He knows the swamp can change in an instant. Hidden logs, strong currents, and low visibility all contribute to the danger. Some parts of the swamp are so dense that a boat can get stuck or overturned if not handled properly. For someone steering while also staying alert to the movements of an alligator just feet away, the pressure is real. These dangers aren't just theoretical. Jacob has had several close calls over the years. In one incident, while reeling in a particularly strong alligator, the line snapped and recoiled, hitting his hand with such force that it caused a painful injury. In another moment, he and his father tried to pull what they believed was a dead gator into the boat. It turned out the animal wasn't dead and suddenly began to thrash violently, sending water and equipment flying and putting both men at serious risk. Moments like these remind viewers that the threat is not staged or exaggerated. It's real, and it requires constant attention. On top of the physical risks, there's also the added pressure of being filmed. As a main cast member, Jacob is not only responsible for the success of the hunt, but also for making sure the footage is usable and engaging. Filming a reality show in a swamp presents unique technical challenges. Camera crews often have to operate in cramped boats or stand in knee-deep water. Their safety becomes part of Jacob's responsibility as well. Even in the middle of high-stress situations, he keeps an eye on the crew, making sure no one is in harm's way. There's also the issue of performance. Although Swamp People is unscripted, the production team still needs dramatic and clear moments to tell a compelling story. Sometimes that means reshooting a scene from a different angle, or repeating a process if the camera missed it. That doesn't make it fake, but it does mean the hunters must be patient and willing to explain or redo something after spending hours under tough conditions. Balancing the authenticity of the job with the needs of a television audience isn't always easy, and it adds another layer of mental stress. As the show grew in popularity, Jacob also began facing more public scrutiny. Animal rights activists have criticized the series for its portrayal of alligator hunting, arguing that it turns the practice into entertainment. While the hunts shown on Swamp People are legal and regulated by wildlife authorities, the visual impact of capturing and killing large animals on screen is not accepted by everyone. Some viewers feel uncomfortable with the show's content, even if they understand the cultural and environmental context behind it. Jacob and his family have responded to this criticism by pointing out the role alligator hunting plays in maintaining ecological balance. Alligator populations can grow too large for certain environments, affecting other species and local communities. Controlled hunting helps prevent that. For Jacob, hunting isn't just about tradition or making a living, it's also about stewardship. He sees himself not as a predator, but as someone helping to keep the ecosystem in balance. He has often said that respecting the land and the animals in it is at the core of what he does. Still, the criticism hasn't gone away. In recent years, fans have noticed that Jacob has become less active on social media, and this silence has sparked rumors. Some have speculated that he's distancing himself from the show or trying to avoid the growing controversy around hunting. Others think he might simply be taking a step back to focus on his family and private life. While no official statements have been made, The reduced online presence has led to questions about his future on Swamp People. Alongside this, there have been persistent rumors that some scenes on the show may be staged or exaggerated for dramatic effect. Certain internet discussions and fan forums have pointed to specific episodes where the timing of a gator attack seemed too perfect, or where camera angles appeared carefully planned. Jacob, along with others on the show, has firmly denied these claims. He insists that what viewers see is real: the danger, the skill, and the unpredictable nature of each hunt. He has acknowledged that certain moments are sometimes edited to make them clearer for the audience, but that doesn't mean they are scripted. Despite these rumors and criticisms, Jacob has maintained his focus and dedication to the work. He understands that being a public figure means being under constant observation, and he seems to accept that with calm professionalism. His commitment to staying grounded, both in terms of his lifestyle and his values, has helped him handle the attention without letting it affect his purpose. In recent seasons, Jacob has appeared less frequently on the show, which has only increased speculation about whether he's stepping away from the spotlight. As of now, it remains unclear if he will return full-time for the next season. But even with limited appearances, his presence still carries weight. He often returns for key hunting episodes or to support his father during the busiest times of the season. What's clear is that Jacob Landry's journey on Swamp People has been far more complex than what's shown on television. The swamp, while beautiful, is an unforgiving place. The work is tough, the conditions are extreme, and the stakes are high. Add to that the pressures of public attention, online rumors, and the need to protect his family's way of life, and it becomes clear that Jacob isn't just a TV personality. He's someone navigating multiple worlds at once. Jacob is married to Lindsay Landry, and together they've created a stable and loving home in their hometown of Pierre Part, Louisiana. The same swamps and bayous that shaped Jacob's childhood are now the backdrop for his own children's upbringing. The couple has 2 sons, Ridge and Case, and Jacob is deeply involved in raising them. He's not just a father in name, he's an active part of their everyday lives, teaching them about nature, responsibility, and the importance of respecting where they come from. For Jacob, passing down the traditions of his family isn't just about showing his sons how to hunt or navigate a boat. It's about teaching them how to approach life with patience, integrity, and a strong work ethic. These lessons go beyond the swamp. He believes that the values learned from working outdoors, paying attention to details, and treating others with kindness are applicable in any setting. He's often said that being a good man matters more than being a good hunter, and that mindset shapes the way he parents. Although Jacob has appeared on national television and has a fan following, he keeps his private life out of the public eye as much as possible. He shares only glimpses of his personal moments, often through quiet photos of fishing trips with his kids or sunsets over the bayou. There's no performance or glamour in his posts, just snapshots of a life rooted in authenticity. That decision to keep things private isn't about secrecy, but about maintaining normalcy. He wants his sons to grow up with a clear sense of self, unshaped by fame or public attention. Beyond family life, Jacob has also pursued interests that take him outside the traditional image of a swamp hunter. In 2015, he stepped into the film industry, working as both an assistant director and actor in a horror movie titled Paranormal Extremes: Text Messages from the Dead. While the project was a significant departure from his usual world of wildlife and outdoor life, Jacob took it as a chance to explore a different side of himself. It was a creative challenge, and one that showed he was open to growth outside the boundaries of his established role on Swamp People. Even before that, Jacob appeared on The Queen Latifah Show in 2013, where he spoke about his life in the Louisiana swamps. In the interview, he talked about the challenges and rewards of living off the land and shared stories from his upbringing. For many viewers unfamiliar with that lifestyle, Jacob's appearance gave them a deeper understanding of the hard work, dedication, and respect for nature that define the swamp way of life. More recently, Jacob has turned his lifelong experience into something educational. He organizes alligator hunting tours, and swamp experiences for visitors who want to learn about the bayou from someone who grew up in it. These tours are not just for thrill seekers. They're designed to give people a realistic view of what it's like to live in the swamp and to understand the delicate balance of its ecosystem. Jacob takes time to explain how his ancestors survived off the land, the role of alligators in maintaining that balance, and why conservation matters. He is deeply involved in efforts to protect Louisiana's wetlands. These environments face increasing threats from erosion, pollution, and climate change, and Jacob understands how important it is to preserve them. His advocacy isn't loud or attention-seeking, it's practical and informed. He works with local groups to raise awareness and shares what he knows through conversations, tours, and social media posts. For Jacob, conservation isn't a buzzword. It's a way of life passed down through generations, and one he feels responsible for continuing. Although Jacob doesn't appear as regularly on Swamp People as he once did, he has not stepped away from the show entirely. He still takes part during key hunting seasons and special episodes, often alongside his father, Troy Landry. These appearances are less about being in front of the camera and more about staying connected to family tradition. Every time he returns, he brings the same calm presence and focus that earned him the respect of fans in the first place. His public image has remained remarkably consistent over the years. While many reality TV personalities drift toward sensationalism or controversy, Jacob has stuck to who he is. Fans admire him not just for his skills or bravery, but for his integrity. He doesn't seek attention, but when he speaks, it's with purpose. Whether he's talking about family, wildlife management, or the challenges of working in the swamp, his message stays the same. Work hard, stay humble, and protect what matters. Social media has allowed Jacob to stay in touch with his audience, though his presence there is minimal and selective. He doesn't post often, and when he does, it's usually about real moments: fishing with his sons, helping his dad, or spending time outdoors. There's little sign of self-promotion or chasing fame. Instead, his feed reflects the quiet strength that fans have come to associate with him. He seems more interested in living a meaningful life than building a personal brand. Looking forward, Jacob has expressed interest in creating educational programs focused on nature and the swamp environment. He wants to help young people, especially those growing up in urban areas, understand the importance of natural ecosystems and traditional knowledge. His goal is not just to teach hunting or fishing techniques, but to foster a deeper respect for the outdoors and an awareness of the responsibilities that come with interacting with the natural world. Jacob's life today is a combination of tradition and evolution. He continues to work alongside his father during alligator season, teaches his children the ways of the swamp, and finds ways to give back to his community. Through all this, he's building a legacy that goes beyond television. Whether or not his sons decide to follow in his footsteps, Jacob is laying a foundation of values they can carry into whatever path they choose. He often says that success isn't measured by fame or money, but by the kind of example you set. For Jacob, being remembered as a good father, a loyal son, and someone who respected his land means more than anything that could be written on a screen or captured in a headline. That philosophy has guided every choice he's made, both in front of the camera and behind it. While Swamp People brought him recognition and helped tell the story of his family's way of life, it never changed who he was. Jacob Landry remains someone who leads with quiet determination, grounded in the place he calls home. The waters of the Louisiana swamp have shaped him, and in turn, he's using what he's learned to shape the next generation. Whether it's through a hunting trip with his sons, a conversation with a visitor on a swamp tour, or a brief appearance on a new season of Swamp People, Jacob continues to carry forward the values that defined his childhood: hard work, family, and respect for the land. In a world that often rewards noise and flash, his steady, authentic approach stands out. Jacob Landry may have built his reputation in the swamp, but his story reaches far beyond it. It's a story about legacy, about choosing what kind of man you want to be, and about staying true to your roots no matter where life takes you.